Alright, this is continuation of the previous videos that I've been creating for my younger brother Salman, to teach him how to use XAMPP on his local machine and how to set up your server for different. In the last video, if you look at it, where I mentioned how you can create virtual hosts, this is kind of next in line to that. And in this video, what we're going to do is we're going to create another virtual host, and this time the virtual host is for a Flask. Flask is a Python framework for APIs development. So once again, in my host file, I went in and added flask.salmon.com to pointing at my local machine, and after that I created a virtual host and I defined the directories in which to look at. If you're not familiar what this is, please refer to my previous video. Now after that, I go into my websites folder, and in the Flask folder I created an index.py file. Now this is a Python file. I have Python installed on my computer. Now we want our XAMPP server to start kind of engaging with Python files as well. When a Python file comes in, it should process it and it should return the results using Python. So if you look at the code simple 2 lines of code. The first one says it's an HTML content, and the second one says hello, I am Python. But when I tried to run it, it was not running, and if I remove this line, this was the error that I was getting. This was the error I was getting, and because it was unable to identify like what I'm supposed to do with that. But before that, before even I got to this point, I had to do some extra things, because okay, you created an index.py file, but you got to tell the XAMPP server what to do with it when it sees index.py. Like, how would it know that it needs to open the index.py whenever someone goes to that URL? So that starts with a couple of things. First thing, what is that? Index.py, for example. Let's look at it. First of all, I define where you define the default pages, right? Like where we define like index.php or default.php or home.php. If any of the files are there, they should be considered as the file that should be loaded. I added the index.py, default.py, and home.py to that list. Second thing was that, okay, I will open that page when someone goes to, if that page is there in that URL. The other thing was, okay, we need to add it to handler as well. Like CGI, fast CGI is the one that is used in XAMPP. So you need to define that, okay, what is a .py extension? Am I supposed to handle it or not? So I added here an add handler where we have .cgi, .pl, .asp, and I added .py as well. So that is added there. So that took care of it. By the way, why I don't have .php here? Interesting. I'll look at it later. But PHP is working. I checked. I think so. Is it working? Let's find out. I have a file. My websites, Google Maps. What am I doing in Google Maps? It's an index.php, right? Okay. What is inside that index.php? I am Google Map. It's echoing as a PHP, so it looks like it's working. Anyway, so going back to the topic, I did those two things. Added here, added handler. Now the next thing was that even when I was running it, it was not working because it couldn't understand. Okay, it's a PY file. I'm supposed to run it, but could you tell me like where's the actual processor that I need to use to process this file extension? Meaning, where's the python.exe file? So that's where it was I checked on my computer and I will see my Python was installed here, so I put its URL here. And once you save it and you go back here, and it works. Alright, so that's how you enable Python on your computer. Now, we will not be doing in the future work, we're not going to be working like Python like this, because I'm going to install a full-fledged Flask framework, which is used to do a professional style API coding. So I'm going to use that, and once I execute its command, like for example, I'm going to go to command line to that folder, this folder I have for my website. I'm going to do package installation through Python, so it's going to take care of all the folders and files and everything. So that money I'll show you in the next video.